Okay, so maybe we can start already. So good morning, everybody, and welcome to this webinar on guidance in adult learning, trends and innovation. My name is Noelia, and I work for the European Association of Regional and Local Authorities for Lifelong Learning, which is the only network of regional and local authorities in Europe that is specifically focused on education and training policies. This webinar has been organized by one of the working groups that we currently have, which is the one dealing with lifelong guidance, and that is led by Region Baden-Württemberg in Germany. And it's also under the Erasmus Plus program of the European Union. The REGALE project aims at increased impact and sustainability of regional and local adult education organizations by setting up and reinforcing networks at local level. So in the project, we have actually a combination of both regional and local authorities working together with adult education providers. So one of the things that we've done during the project at the very beginning was we launched a survey because we wanted to check what were the challenges as well as the opportunities that adult learning organizations and public authorities were seeing at local level in the field of adult learning, and guidance came up as one of the main aspects where they really wanted to further get insight and further information about what's new trends and what is happening in this field. It's true that from a Brussels perspective and from the EU policies, we know that skills have come at a central level. There is a big support from the institution. We only need to have a look at the skills agenda or the recently launched Pact for Skills. And we know that providing the skills that the for facing the challenges that European societies are facing, which are coming not only from the green and digital transition, but also from the aging society, demographic challenges like migrants coming, the geopolitical aspects like the war in Ukraine. So the labor market is changing rapidly, and guidance should be embedded within those changes and should provide support to this new upskilling and reskilling of competencies that we will all need. And as we know, it has become more digitalized. It has become more central and more focused on the individual. At the same time, we also need to look at ethic issues that come with that. We have also new cohorts of people, new target groups that need to be involved into the guidance provision. So there are many of those aspects that we are going to be dealing with today. We have a very good program for today. So we will see examples of what's happening in Austria.
You are muted, Noelia.
I think something, I mean, I haven't done it, so maybe it was from the central, doesn't matter. I will continue. So we have a very nice agenda for today. I hope you all enjoy. We won't be a very good group, you can also give your impression in the chat, and we will try to reply to that. We don't want questions to be unanswered, so if we don't have time today, we will get back to you later. The material will all be gathered. It will be kept in the REGALE project. This webinar is part of the 11 webinars that we are organizing in the context of the project, and they will be stored in a Moodle. So you will see in the chat the website of the project where you can get the information about all the activities that we are organizing. So please don't hesitate to disseminate the information and the presentation of the webinar after this webinar. Without further ado, I'm going to pass on the floor to the chairperson of today, who is Andrea Bernett-Burkel, who works for the Adult Education Network in Baden-Württemberg in Germany, who is also the leader of ERLAL Working Group for Lifelong Guidance and Aging Societies, and who has been managing many projects in the field of guidance, so she has great expertise in the area. So, Andrea, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Noelia. Hello from Germany. I hope that the quality of my sound will be good, because we had bigger IT problems in Germany yesterday and this morning. But I think it works well. So in case you have trouble in understanding me, just let me know and give me a sign. Yes, I have the honor to do the moderation today, but I won't speak too much because we have a great selection of speakers today for our 90 minutes that we have here. So we will have for our seminar inputs from, first of all, from a colleague from Germany, then from Austria, and afterwards from Norway. So we will get an insight into guidance systems in these countries, always with a special emphasis and always with a view to, let's say, trends and innovation. So what we would like to do is to see how guidance is developing in the future. And we will, in fact, start with a presentation on where future of guidance is at the focus. So with a more general view on the future and trends in career guidance or educational guidance. And afterwards, we will have two looks at specific issues. So digital guidance on the one hand, and then guidance with immigrants on the other hand, which is for most of us an important issue. We will get some inputs of 10-15 minutes of each speaker, and then we'll have the opportunity to discuss things, to answer questions. And I do also hope, like Noelia, that we will have a very lively chat, so that you give inputs from your side to the chat and ask questions there, so that we can also consider your views, your questions. But I would like to start, first of all, to introduce my colleague here from Germany, from the region of Baden-Württemberg, Elke Scheffelt, who is the head of a career guidance service in the town of Freiburg, which is in our region in the southwest of Germany. One of the innovative centers, guidance centers here in Germany, or here in Baden-Württemberg. My organization, the Volkshochschulen, we run, among other things, a guidance network at 180 places with guidance offices all over the region, not only based at adult education centers, but at a lot of other institutions. So career guidance is an important issue for us, and the Freiburg Center is, as I said, one of the really good and innovative ones. So Elke, I give you the floor for your presentation on future of career guidance as we expected. And yeah, we are looking forward to your input to your presentation.
Thank you, Andrea, and hello to everybody. Thank you for the invitation. Andrea asked me last week, a very shorthand, can you give a presentation? We have our anniversary, 10-year, our guidance institution in Freiburg in the southwest of Germany. And I'm in between our celebration, like yesterday and tomorrow again. I hope you can hear me, everybody. Give me a sign if it's not the case, and I will share my presentation now. I hope you can see everything.
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
One moment, I just have to do some, so I can see you. Okay, now. Okay, future of guidance, big topic, trends in a changing world. I just tell you something about who we are. We are a guidance and counseling center for educational and vocational questions in the city of Freiburg. In the middle of Freiburg, we have our center. And we are there for everybody from 0 to 99 or even older if it's wished. We're counseling neutral and anonymous. We don't take any data from personal data from the people who come to us. You don't have to the need to make an appointment with us. You just step by in our counseling center, or you call, mail, chat, and video chat. We do a lot of events on frequent questions with our counseling partners in the city. So we have a very, very dense network with counseling partners from universities, the labor market agency, job center, social counselors, youth counselors, etc. And we do events like, this is just a selection, study without a high school diploma, or finance your studies and training. School is over and now. We had an event in May for seniors. It was called How to Get to Other Countries After Work, like doing, how do you say, FSJ? Andrea.
Freelance services abroad,
Freelance services
for seniors.
For seniors. It was really well visited, and so on. So the questions we have in our counseling center, well, maybe I go one step back. It's we have a concept. These are the colors from yellow to violet. And these are our educational phases. So we counsel from kindergarten until to seniors who want to work voluntary when they're retired. So this is a selection of questions of the people who come to us. So quite a range. So we are 5 counselors, and we're working in our counseling center in the middle of the city, but also we go to the different quarters in the city. So what are the challenges? Very broad, an overview for an impulse for the next presentation to come. We think these are the main challenges, and Noelia already told about it. It's digitalization, diversity, and the ever-changing world. And yesterday we had our conference for our jubilee, and our keynote speaker was from the Zukunftsinstitut. It's the Institute for Future in Frankfurt in Germany. And they're publishing every year a so-called megatrend map. It's very interesting. You can find it in the web. Well, it's in German, but I think it's very easy to translate the most of it. And there you can see like the mega trends who are, well, very important for us as well. What does that mean, digitalization? Well, we have a presentation afterwards from Austria, who is like specifying this trend. Karin, are you doing that? Okay. So I keep short. Well, digitalization. The main trend is like the disruption and change for everybody, and the need to have like a future literacy or a digital literacy. I think you will point that as well. And digitalization has in fact already very much effects on our profession and on the career path of everybody. So we have to take account that there's virtual augmented reality, and we have to take account that we have to deal with that as well. It has effects on guidance and counseling, like e-counseling already. It's like the day-to-day business for everybody already. But now, I think very new, and yesterday we heard an input as well, the gamification trend is quite a trend for us as well, and IE as well. We had an input yesterday from a person in Bavaria. She is a social worker, and she is doing digital, how do you call it, digital work in gaming, and tries to do social work in doing gaming as well. Well, I said that already. It has an effect on our qualifications and our competencies as counselors. It has an effect on organizational context of counseling institutions. We all know that. We need to have the infrastructure. Everything has to work. And it has an effect on visibility and transparency in social media, in the web in general. And the continuing education or vocational education has to take that in count to cope with these challenges. Diversity. We, as a team, are very diverse already. We have, as I said, 5 counselors, and we do have like 7 different languages we just offer for the people who seek counseling. But it's so important to have that as a portfolio. The diversity means, like you already said, Noelia, the diverse backgrounds, cultural, educational, etc. pp. We have so many different backgrounds, and we have to take that in account. We have to take that into account, the limited language abilities in, well, the different languages we speak here in our countries. And often for our people who come, the limited social structures. They have like no networks, no not enough time for doing educational courses. So they have to do shift work or care duties and so on. So these are all like aspects we have to take into account in our counseling. And then the ever-changing world, like the migration and integration, globalization, climate change, urbanization, demography, and the work-life balance. So these are the aspects. What can we do as counselors? It's very, very important to enable networks for us as counselors, like we do today, or in our regions or in our cities where we are, but as well to enable networks for the people who come to us, to our counseling institutions. Because networks help, as you all know, in finding a job, in getting better integrated, in cultural ways, in so many ways. So this is really, really helpful, and we try to offer that for people who come to us, to have like group settings and enable networks for them. We try to offer open counseling settings, like say we have the central institution in the middle of the city. This is nice to have and good to have, but it's so, so important to go to places where people are. So we have our mobile counseling offer in different quarters, as I said, and we go to kindergartens, we go to schools, we go to quarters in the city which are limited in social structures, in like maybe a little bit difficult, and we try to change places and settings. So if we see people are not coming anymore, or we don't reach the people anymore, we try to change the place, or we try to change the setting, like the time, or who is like the counselor who's going there. And as I said, we do a lot of group settings because people really help each other, vice versa. And another very, very important aspect is our pilots and peers. And the picture I show you is our pilot, one of our pilots, Jamila. It's not a model, she is real. And we counseled her, and she came from Algeria 5-6 years ago, and she didn't know that she can do an education, like a school education in Germany. So she did her how do you call Hauptschulabschluss? The first, I don't know.
Yeah, the first school exam.
Yeah.
It's probably, is it B levels, isn't it? After.
I don't know. It's not A level,
yeah.
but it's important to have that to do a vocational course in Germany. So she did that in the evening, and now she's doing a vocational course, working in a kindergarten. And we met her yesterday, and she did her exams and is waiting for the results now. So, and she is also our pilot now, our peer, sorry, because she is going to her networks and telling about the offer we do, and what people find at our counseling place. So this is very important. And the last thing I want to highlight is the tolerance of ambiguity. I think we all need that for our work, but also we have to give that as an aspect in our counseling to the people who come to us. Thank you very much, and I'm hoping you get an overview now. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Elke. That was, I think, from my perspective, a very good overview on new trends and also new methods and new ways of counseling. I was just checking the chat, but we didn't have any questions so far. So that's why I would like to open the floor to everybody to see whether there are questions from your sides regarding the aspects that Elke highlighted. So yeah, I would just like open the floor to see whether there are any questions. Okay, so I'm just checking, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Maybe I ask one question to you, also to give the others a bit of time to think about maybe more questions, because you mentioned the artificial intelligence and gamification thing. And an example from Bavaria that you had at your conference yesterday. So was there, or did they give a specific example, let's say, what this could look like, what this could be?
Well, I'm not an expert for that, but I try to summarize. So she said she's a gamer. She the person who presented yesterday, a gamer and a social worker as well. And she is present in the game, in her games. I don't know, I'm not into this world, so I can't tell you about it. Different platforms, she told about it. And she is present there, and she is presenting herself as a person, but also as a social worker. And people just contact her over, like, while gaming, chatting with her, and she's telling what she's doing, like social work, and she's there for everybody and for all the questions. And then people just contact her and chat with her and talk with her in video chat or whatever. So she's doing that while gaming. Okay.
So that's a very interesting new way of access to a target group. So
Absolutely.
gaming, and it's true that, because I mean, if I think about my children, they meet all the time on these games and have Discord on and then discuss things as well.
Discord was one platform.
Yeah. So that's one. That's why I asked. So that's really one good way of contacting people. Just
Yeah, and it's a pilot in Bavaria. I think there are 15 social workers doing that all over Bavaria. They're hoping they get the money for continuing their work. I think they're quite successful.
Okay, yeah, very interesting, I think. So any other questions from your side? Yeah, there's one from Sonia.
Hi, good morning to everyone. I'm Sonia from Trapez, Italy. I have a question. I work with adults, with the target adults, and I use gamification a lot. So I found it really interesting. I don't know if you hear me.
Yes.
Yes, okay. But I have a question about the use of apps as a mobile counseling app. Do you have ever used this tool? And if yes, how the users feel comfortable or not in comparison with the present counseling?
Thank you for your question, Sonia. We don't use an app yet. I don't know. We're thinking about it, but we don't use it yet. We offer video chat, but only with dates. Like we have to contact beforehand. So I don't know. But my colleague, she is from Ukraine, and now a lot of people from there come to our counseling place, and she's using her personal networks, and they are using apps, but it's not in the context of our work yet. It's just like semi work or semi professional. So
Okay, thank you.
I think before I build the bridge to the next presentation, because we are already at a perfect bridge to the next presentation, but I just wanted to give the opportunity to ask other questions in case there are any. Okay, I don't think there are any now, so I would use this app question as a bridge to our next speaker from Austria, who is from the career guidance or educational guidance in Vienna. I have to say that we always look a bit like kind of jealous to Austria because they have very good career guidance structures there, and especially in Vienna with very good quality standards and also very good tools and everything really nice and practical and nice and easy to use. And especially the network, especially the career guidance network in Vienna is a very good example. And first of all, thank you to Karin for being here with us. She was even got shorter notice because we really had a problem with COVID in this in organizing this event, because there were people like being ill and not being able to come. So Karin really was a last minute speaker to be in our round today, and Karin will talk about digital guidance and tools and chat and things they use there. And from our perspective, from Baden-Württemberg, this is also a very good example. So we are having a look at that and would like to use it as a good practice for our work as well. And so we thought it would be interesting to invite the colleagues from Vienna, from Austria, to our session here today as well. And as we said, we think these are really good good examples. And I will give the floor to you, Karin, now to do your presentation on digital guidance, and you can say a bit more about what you will focus on. And yeah, so the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. And welcome to all, and thank you for inviting me. It was very short notice. I will focus on very practical examples, and I hope that's okay for you. And I can give you a bit of an insight. It's not much time, so let me begin. What I'd like to talk about is, on the one hand, the digital counseling we do. It's always educational counseling. One part about what we do in the Vienna network, and the Vienna network is comprised of 7 different organizations which work together very closely. There are about 20 counselors within the network, and it's working well, especially also, as you said, Andrea, within quality management and common standards. The second part would be about educational counseling, the digital educational counseling that we do across Austria in a project, in a network project across Austria. And then I would be happy to answer any of your questions if there are any. Here I have a timeline, a short timeline. We started with digital counseling in 2010 in Vienna. That was and that was text-based online counseling on a data secure platform. In 2014, that became a national project. That's what I will talk about a bit later on. In 2015, we started a pilot with video counseling via Skype. It went on for about 2 years, but it didn't meet much attention, and we stopped it again in 2017. We set up an online booking calendar where you can book face-to-face counseling and also video counseling, which was part of the relaunch of the website. I will not go into these into video counseling and this online booking calendar any more in detail, because I think most of you do it, especially since 2020, when we also started with the pandemic video counseling again, that time with Zoom. Now it works well for the obvious reasons. What I would like to discuss in a bit more detail is our outreach activities in social media and counseling via messaging apps, and of course the text-based counseling on the Austrian scale. Yeah. So the online outreach activities are started in 2020, but they were not a result of the pandemic. They were planned before that. We did have, or we do have online. We do have outreach activities. We have, little stores in public places like train stations or shopping centers, where we talk to people, hand out leaflets, that sort of thing. We wanted to transfer that also into the online space, and what we did, we researched Facebook groups and found several and we focused on 2 Vienna-based Turkish-speaking Facebook groups of only women that one of our counselors became a member of. She has a professional Facebook profile, and she is reading the posts in those Facebook groups, and she's commenting on them whenever there are questions on about education or about job. Yeah, and these comments she also connects with notices on, hey, there is educational counseling, it's free of charge. If you want to access it, you can do it this and that way. So the members of the group, they can read these posts and they do react to it. They comment on the posts as well, or on her comments, they reach out via Facebook Messenger or they call her. And then she can continue the counseling process. She offers counseling via different channels. Maybe they set up an appointment for face-to-face counseling or for video counseling, or they do telephone counseling, you know. So this is how we structured our outreach activities, and we have guidelines of what are the privacy settings and how do you do that, the commenting, and what are the criteria for the Facebook groups that we should work with, we want to work with. So we have made a nice plan of it all, and that's what we have been doing since 2020, and it works well. People are using this opportunity, especially that because we connected with the counseling via messaging apps. Yeah. We can, with this kind of outreach activities and the counseling via messaging apps, we can reach groups of society that are difficult to reach, that we have had difficulties to reach, and that are more accessible now. These people that we can reach with these channels are very comfortable with social media and use it in their everyday lives anyway. So this is we are offering them something on a channel that they are using anyway. Yeah. Another important factor for success is that we respond fast. We try to respond fast, and that we have an authentic counselor, meaning the counselor that is a member of these Facebook groups, she is Turkish speaking as well. Yeah, so she is writing and talking in Turkish, in their language, and we've only focused on Turkish speaking community for now. We would like to expand it. That's a resource question, as you probably all of you know. And what is important also, that we align the messenger counseling and the outreach activities, that we make sure that whenever there is posts, that there is time also to deal with all the requests that are coming in, you know, to whenever we post something, that we're ready for it. We're ready for what requests and questions might come. Yeah. The messenger counseling is, I think, the newest baby in the Vienna network. What we do is we offer our customers that they can contact us via Facebook Messenger or via WhatsApp. We use a software called Userlike. It's a German software. It's GDPR compliant, and it offers different channels. You could do a website chat or live chat, like having a small icon on your website that people click on and then write. We tried that. We did a pilot on it last year in autumn for about 2 months. We did not continue it because with the website chat, people expect very fast answers, and with very fast, I mean within like 3 minutes, 5 minutes. 5 minutes, they might be gone. They might have left the website, so they do not see if you respond to them. And that has implications on the staff resources. So we did not continue that, but what we did continue was WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger. They would also, Userlike also offers Telegram, Threema, SMS, and they have one customized channel that you could maybe use for email. they are planning to include Instagram direct messaging as well. So that's also interesting for us, because that's also one channel that our target groups, prioritized target groups, are using. What can you do on this software, on this platform? Basically, you set up accounts, and the accounts holders, our counselors, they log in on a website and they get into a message center where they're organized in groups and in organizations. There is an algorithm for every new message that comes in. It will be assigned to a counselor that is online. If there are several, then it will go, the new request will go to the person that hasn't received a chat for the longest time. But there, you can also manually assign conversations to yourself and also to others. You can transfer chats, for instance. You say, oh, this is something that my colleague knows more about. I'll hand over the chat to the colleague, and then the colleague can read all that has been written in the chat. It's you can use text messages, you can use voice messages, you can send documents and links, all very easy. And the website chat also offers voice and video calls plus screen sharing, but we're not, as I said, we're not using that anymore, but that's also a good option. It has an integrated translation tool. It uses DeepL, but integrated, not separate on a website, it's integrated. So you click on a button and the message you've written, in our case German, is translated into Norwegian. And if the person writes back in Norwegian, it will be translated into German. At the moment, we're not using it because DeepL does not have Turkish, for instance. There are, you can set up automated messages and chat macros, which are like pieces of text that you prepare, and then you can just click on a button and then it will send it immediately. You can do feedback, you can collect feedback from your customers, and you can do service, and you can also integrate the chatbots. That's also something we have not used yet. How did we set up the organization? We define service times. So from Monday till Friday, from 9 until 4, one of our operators, one of the 3 operators, is on duty and takes all new messages except for the Turkish ones, because the Turkish speaking counselor has to take all the Turkish speaking messages. The others couldn't deal with that. Once you have taken a conversation, a message, these chats, they stick to the operator. So every time there is a new message, even if it's a week later, 2 weeks later, it will come to the same person. That is important for us because, especially in counseling, you need a sort of a relationship with the counselor. So, and that is enabled by sticking by sticky chats. Yeah. Once the chat sticks to, or because the chat sticks to the operators, that means whenever the counselors are around, they will check if in their conversations any new messages have arrived, and they will answer to them. So they will sort of string up a longer conversation. So this is how we set it up, and why are we doing it? It has great benefits, especially the accessibility. We are, as I said before, we are using channels that our clients or our customers are using anyway. Yeah. And they are very comfortable with it. They're used to it. The chats are on the phones. People use it via their smartphones. The chats are on the phones. They can always read them, scroll back, read whatever we have sent, open, click on the links again, open documents again. It is asynchronous, which is something people are used to. If you write a message via WhatsApp, you don't expect somebody to write back immediately. If the answer comes an hour or 2 hours later or next day, that's not a problem because it's on the phone. Yeah. And you get the ping, you get a notification, you know there is an answer, you can check it and you can read it. we have noticed that often it's not always, but it can be like a first point of contact. People ask for information, we send information, then they start reading, then they come back later. Yeah, once they have read all of it, or they call and say, or they write and say, now I've read everything, can I have a face-to-face meeting? I'd like to discuss it all. Yeah. So this online outreach activities that we do and these messaging apps or counseling via messaging apps, they work together very well. And they are helping us to access new target groups actually. But there are also quite a few challenges. The speed, as I said, especially with the website chat, the speed is phenomenal. And if you, it basically means that one of the counselors had to be there and she could not, or he could not do much else in the time that she was on duty for the website chat, because you have to be aware all the time if there's a message coming in to respond immediately. Yeah. Then there is a 24-hour deadline with WhatsApp. If there has been no messages have been exchanged for more than 24 hours, then we cannot contact our customers again. But there is a workaround for that. So you can send predefined messages that the customers will have to answer, and then you can continue the chat. I spoke about the resources. What is maybe more interesting for you is that chatting needs some experience or training with text-based counseling. We've had it before, we've done it before. Our counselors say, okay, it is different, but it is not completely new to them. But of course they needed to discuss it, exchange about it. They need, they're doing this exchange sessions where they discuss different cases. How could I have done that differently? How could I have done it better? And it is more about messaging. Messenger counseling is more about so providing and editing the right kind of information in the perfect way, so it fits the customer well. Yeah, it's less of a processual counseling where you come and then you clear what is the question actually, and then you discuss the options, and then sort of you send people away with different opportunities and or different options that they could what they could do in future, and then it's much faster, and it is more piecemeal, so to say. Yeah. And this asynchronicity has changed the work process for the counselors, and that's also been a challenge. They have adapted to it, but it has been a challenge initially. Yeah. So this is the messaging apps, the counseling via messaging apps, and in combination with the online outreach activities. And now, how much time have I used? Okay, I have a few more minutes. I would continue with the counseling in Austria. There is different networks in different federal states in Austria. 6 of those federal state networks have been working together within a national project since 2014. The project lead is with Wiener Volkshochschulen. Volkshochschulen or community colleges, the same organization that Andrea Bernhard-Bürkle is working for. And what we do as and that I am working for, and what the project lead does is we provide the software hosting, and we provide training and quality management for all the federal state networks, for all the 6 of them. What we used for this national project is a different software. It's called Beranet. It's also a German one. It's very commonly used in counseling, also in therapeutic settings, and we use it for chat and for email. It is, of course, GDPR compliant. We've set up a nationwide website where people have to log in, and then they have to create an account. They log in and they will book time slots with a specific counselor for a chat, or they will send an email request, which is asynchronous, of course, because then next day or so, or 2 days later, maximum 3 days later, they will get an answer to that email, and the answer will be on the platform again. So they will have to see the answer, to read the answer, they will have to log into the platform again. Yeah. That is what the website looks like, and on the right hand side you see email Beratung and you see Einzelchat. So this is where you can first log in and then book your either send a request or book an appointment for a synchronous chat. Yeah, and that's what the backend looks like, but I think many of you have seen it. Maybe let's just go to the benefits of this way of online counseling or digital counseling. It is text-based, and text-based is ideal for reflection. That's what we've noticed. Then some people just prefer to write than to talk. And some people don't want face-to-face contact, not even via video. Yeah, they don't like to be opposite somebody. So for those people, text-based counseling is ideal. Another benefit for us has been that it's a nationwide collaboration, and the exchange with others has been very helpful. It has been organized about twice a year. Also, supervision and training activities have been organized nationwide, which of course furthers the exchange, and that has been very helpful because it allows all the counselors to stay informed and also to feel responsible of what is happening in other places, in other regions as well. So you don't sort of get stuck in your small little bubble. But there have been challenges as well with this kind of counseling, and the biggest challenge was actually that customers need to create an account on a platform and have to log into that account and to be able to chat and to send a request, and also the email answer, they will also have to log into that account. This chat is synchronous as opposed to the messenger chats, because on WhatsApp you can write anytime, Facebook Messenger you can write anytime, yes. But for this one, you would have to book an appointment, you know, and that means both sides have to be available, you know, at the same time. There has been one minor issue that if you send a request and you get an answer, then you have another question following up on what you have just read. You need to send a new request, and that is a bit counterintuitive. So, but that's sort of a minor thing. And there have been technical problems off and on, but I think there will be technical problems with any kind of digital counseling always. So that's also not such a big thing, not such a big challenge. Well, when you're in the middle of it, it is a challenge, but to put it into perspective, then having digital counseling opportunities is from our point of view a good way of reaching other people, different people, or people more easily. Yeah. So that's it from my side. These are my contact details if anybody wants to ask more questions later on, but of course I'm also available for questions now. I think there are about 5 minutes left as far as I've seen.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, Karin. Very interesting. 5 minutes left for questions, in fact, because we always would like to have this combination. And there was, in fact, one question in the chat, and Elke is also raising her hand. So maybe she would like to ask the question herself. Elke, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Karin, for this interesting presentation. I just had a question in the chat. I wasn't sure whether you were talking about still about user-like when you had all these aspects highlighted. Was it like I think it was your third presentation slide. I wasn't sure whether you were talking about another platform or still user-like. Could you maybe just go back to the presentation and I can...
I'm not sure which one.
Okay, we can, well, it was, I think it was the third slide or so.
Third one.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, no.
No, just no, further on. Further on, further on. I don't know, maybe I just...
Now up to here, this is all about messaging and
yeah,
online outreach activity.
So
the messaging, everything we do with messaging apps is done with the software called user-like.
Okay.
There are other software providers who will also allow you to chat via messaging apps with your customers. We have chosen user-like, but there are others as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I have a question on that as well. That means that you as a counselor, you will log on with your PC on this user-like, and then you have the different apps on it and choose them, and then you type with your PC, or how does that practically work for the counselor?
That's exactly how it works, yes.
Yeah. Okay. And then
Let me show you.
I had...
See this?
Yeah. Okay. Very good.
So this is user-like, and here you have login. And here you just log in.
Okay. Okay.
Of course.
Yes.
But I have two more questions. Sorry, Andrea, can I just...
Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe
So I didn't get, how many online counselors are you at the Bildungsberatung Wien?
Online.
Yes, because you said you have this 9 to 4 service. And then,
okay, for the messaging apps, 3.
Okay, all right. So they... And another, my last question, how often does that happen, that people use as a first contact, say WhatsApp or what else, and then change the format, change the channel, maybe come to the...
I can't tell you. I can't give you a figure because we haven't done the statistics yet.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. We have done a pilot in autumn for about 2 months, and we started again in March this year.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have not done the statistics. I cannot tell you how many of these contacts by messaging apps led to a counseling in another channel as well.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Karin.
Right.
Okay, I have actually one question from the client perspective. So if I have my, let's say, WhatsApp here on my phone with all my groups I have, and now I want to contact you via WhatsApp, how does that practically work from the client's perspective? How do the clients get to you then via WhatsApp, for example?
Well, how do you do it how do you do it when you chat privately?
Yeah, so I put the contact to my contact list, or I have a phone number, a mobile phone number of somebody, then I can contact them. So does it work that way?
There you go. It's the same, but you don't need a mobile phone number. You can have a regular phone number. Yeah. and we just using our regular contact telephone number.
Okay.
Which
Yeah,
is
so
a landline, not a mobile phone. Yeah, and that one is connected to WhatsApp and we can work on it on with with the platform.
Okay.
So people type in the number,
Mhm.
store the number, and then write a message, same as with any other person that you contact on WhatsApp.
Yeah. Okay. So the clients, they somehow have your phone number then, and
yeah, we have to give it to them, of course. Yes. But it's on the website. It's on the website. It's on the brochures. It's what we do is, of course, we advertise messaging apps or contacting us via messaging apps mainly on social media. Yeah. So that's how because the way, of course, is shortest. If people read it on social media, they usually read it on the phone anyway, and then they can just type on the phone number and store it in their phone and then send a message to via WhatsApp, or they just, you know, look up Bildungsberatung in Wien on Facebook, look for that Facebook account and then type on the messenger. So if we do the advertisements on social media, that is of course the shortest possible way for the clients.
Okay,
and that's what works best.
There are some questions from the audience. So Tina raised her hand, but now Regine as well.
Yeah, I raised my hand really quickly because I wanted to know just that, how you are promoting your guidance service. And I got the answer out of the air, so it's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, very good. So Regine, you have a question.
I have an answer to Karen because it's really interesting for us too here at the Landesnetzwerk. So what about data protection?
User-like is GDPR compliant. Yeah. All the servers are hosted within the GDPR area. We can make sure that we do not that we are careful with the data, the personal data that we receive. We can also make sure we are able to delete it. We are user-like is very flexible. You can sort of deactivate the collection of personal data, geolocation, Google Analytics. It has all of it and more if you want, but you can just deactivate it. Yeah. Okay. So that's why it is possible. And it's also possible for WhatsApp because they have one of the they have a collaboration. They have business partners with another a business partner who is in turn one of the listed registered companies who can give out WhatsApp business APIs. So they're listed with Meta, yeah, and they are entitled to give out business APIs, and with these business APIs you can ensure GDPR compliance.
Okay, yes, because WhatsApp always is a problem.
Yes.
With data protection, so we see it critical here in Germany. Yes.
Okay. So do we? Yeah. And but different software companies who organize this kind or offer this kind of service, they have thought about it deeply, how to make it possible for customers in Europe, and this is and they have found a solution. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. There was one question in the chat which I would like to ask on behalf of Joseba Rodriguez. So a question for Karin and for Elke: what kind of training do you provide to counselors? Yeah. So yeah, that's the question to Elke and Karin.
The kind of training we provide is depends very much on which section or which channels the counselors are using. So if it's in the digital area, they get, of course, technical training, but that's really the smallest part, because to learn how to use a new platform or new softwares, yeah, that will usually happen very fast, but the main part of the education will be reflecting upon what this specific channel means and how to use it well. Yeah, and that is usually done by group supervision or intervision, peer intervision, and with exchange, any kind of exchange formats and events. Yeah, where the counselors usually discuss specific cases they have experienced in the past, like for instance, a chat conversation. Yeah, they sort of cross out the names, of course, and then or any personal data, and then they discuss what's gone well, what has not gone well, how could it be done better, and reflecting in a group together on such cases is, from what I have heard, I'm not the one organizing it, but from what I have heard, has been most helpful for the counselors. Yeah, so that's what they do mainly.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, Eke.
Yes, I would agree with Karin from the last aspect she highlighted. And in Germany, I think we have not so many institutes who are like specializing on the digital counseling, but there's one in Nuremberg at the technical university, and they have really good courses, like basic courses for online counselors, but also for like specialized aspects of online counseling for experts or seniors in online counseling. So we have to drive there, or we have to do the online courses there to get our education.
There is, as far as I know, there is one longer course it's organized by Gerd Hintenberger and Stefan Kühne, comprised of several different modules, and they are also focusing on different channels, but always in the sense of, not so much in the technical sense, but always in the sense of what's my role, what's my position as a counselor, how does it work, how does it work for the customers, what does it mean for them, what does it mean for me as a counselor. To reflect on these things is, I think, is more important than just learning where to click on the platform to send a message. That can be done quickly.
Yeah. And there's another, I just think of another institute, the University of the Labor Market Agency in Germany is, one institute is in Mannheim, and they're thinking of establishing courses for online counselors. So maybe there's another network establishing, which would be very important.
Yeah. So thank you so much. I think we are getting to very interesting points and have a lot of discussions, which is good news, but we are running out of time now. So we have to switch the area. So we were talking about digital and methodological questions now, and we'll now turn to the field that Elke mentioned before, diversity. We will turn to a target group, to immigrants, which are always an important target group of educational and career guidance, of course, because people who come to a country, they first of all need a lot of information and need a lot of guidance to get along at their new place of living. And this is where Norway comes in. Amila, the colleague from Bergen, who will talk about guidance for immigrants. And I think, Amila, since we are short of time, you will introduce yourself a little bit, tell where you are, and also speak a bit about your work. And yeah, the floor is yours now.
Thank you, Andrea. I will try to speak and share my screen at the same time. I hope you can see my presentation, and otherwise let me know if you can't. I hope you can just give me a thumbs up that you can see it okay.
All good. Thank you, Amila.
Great, thank you. So my name is Amila Suljevic-Mella. I am a coordinator for integration at the Career Center at Westland County Council. And I'm so happy and honored to be here with you. I can see a lot of European colleagues that were here visiting us in May and also in June. So it's nice to see you guys again. And this might be some repetition for you from when you visited us. But as we say in guidance and counseling, I think repetition is a good point for learning. So I'll try to be efficient with my time, but also leave some time for questions, and you can just use the chat. As Andrea said, I am located in Bergen, Norway. And I'm trying not to be, even though we think we are small but mighty, not everyone knows where Norway or Vestland is, west of Norway. So I've tried to take a map to show you where we are located. As my name might suggest, I am not completely Norwegian. I myself am a refugee. I come from Bosnia, Herzegovina, and I came here during the war when I was a child. So I'm going to talk today about our new task, that is career counseling for newly arrived refugees. A bit about us and the Career Center. We are a vast, it's playing, I don't know why it is, but let's see. So we are a vast county in the west of Norway. We became Career Vestland from the 1st of January to 2020. We are actually 15 career counselors, 10 that are just working in offices in 6 locations that you can see on the map with very long distances. But we also have digital counselors. So it was very interesting to hear the colleagues previously talking about the digitalization. And a bit about us and our offers. We have career guidance for all adults over the age of 19. We do it by video, telephone, and physical meetings. Here are some photos from our career center. And as colleagues previously stated, we try to answer and help people with all educational and vocational questions. We have also this new task that I'm going to be speaking about, that I'm responsible for, the career guidance and counseling for newly arrived refugees, as a part of the new law that came in Norway in 2021. We are also working as a competence center for other actors who work with career guidance. NAV is our national welfare agency, which also provides some form of career guidance and social work. We work as a competence center for educational institutions and introductory programs, where we do lectures, training, and have project collaborations. And what is maybe interesting and what we are very proud of in Norway is that we do have a very vast career guidance structure. So every county in Norway has a career center, and we have career centers in higher education, in vocational schools, and in our high schools as well. And our Department of Higher Education and Competence has actually developed a national quality framework that we are obliged to follow, and which we are very proud of. We are free, objective, and neutral, so it's free to come to us. And we unfortunately don't have drop-ins again after COVID, so we are still having you to book us, but we have drop-ins with the digital part of our work. And as you can see here, these are some of our collaborators, and we also had now a project with EU, Stride for Stride, that some of you visited us here in June. Now, over to the subject at hand, which is career guidance for refugees and also, immigrants. And I'm trying to take a bit of a bigger picture because there's a lot of details here, and I'm happy to answer your questions if we have time. I will also send the presentation to Levanese, which will share it further, as well as be open for questions afterwards. So as you can see, and you all know that a lot of research has been done the last 10 years on career guidance and immigration. And I think this is something that has through reports shown to be a very big challenge in a lot of European countries, especially taking immigrants from developing countries. There's a lot of culture differences, educational differences, system differences, and career guidance has been pointed to be maybe a possible part of the solution. Now, our government in Norway, and I always joke that we love national inquiry reports. We have a very strong bureaucratic system that I, as a part of the county council, also am a part of. And they made a national inquiry report about career guidance actually in 2016. And this report, together with OECD's reports, show that the competence of immigrants is neither seen or used or developed well enough in Norwegian society. As we know from before and other research, the unemployment and exclusion is inherited, and especially in vulnerable groups such as immigrant and refugees are. We know that through career guidance, and studies have shown that new immigrants would be able to actually utilize their skill and the competence they have brought with them more quickly, and it could also help the integration process if they received it. And these reports also show that not only does the immigrant part need career guidance, but 1 in 5 adults report that they need career guidance. However, immigrants and refugees shown that they benefit maybe more from these guidance and counseling sessions than the rest of the population. And I didn't introduce myself and my background when I started, but I'm a clinical neuroscientist with a specialization in psychiatry and trauma. So what I have looked at is the possibilities and I think ambitions that a career guidance and counseling sessions of this character can have actually as a prevention tool against post-traumatic stress syndrome and also early trauma reactions to the migration process. And this is not only for refugees, although I will specify why we only work with refugees. This is to all immigrants and migrants that come, as well as the population at large. We do see that these counseling sessions can give a sense of stability, a sense of control, and future planning is a good prevention tool against these trauma reactions. So I always say that career guidance is not just answering questions about educational and vocational subjects. The potential is much larger. So how did we get this task? Well, all of this research and the report from 2016 made our government a new Integration Act, a policy and law that is enforced from 2021. And now we got that new exciting task that is career guidance for refugees. So our mandate with this new Integration Act, and this is the legalities behind it, but just maybe to show you how the system in Norway works. Now, what we differs this task from our, what can I say, normal career guidance is that the refugees have a duty to carry out the career guidance. So it's not voluntary, which we do oppose a bit, but the law is the law, unfortunately. However, we see that even when it's voluntary, a lot of immigrants come to us and seek advice and career guidance. So it shows the maybe need for this. However, this is a part of the Integration Act and law at hand. So the part of the law says that career guidance has to take place within 3 months after settlement. It's mandatory, as I mentioned. And it's actually the municipalities that have to order and book the appointment with us. We are supposed to give a recommendation. And the thought of this law is that with career guidance, it will be able to use the competence and resources that the refugees bring to Norway in a more in a better way, but also actually give the refugees a better introductory program. We have an introductory program that is mandatory for refugees. It can last from 1 to 3 years, depending on how much education they bring with them. And now we can see that the municipalities can tailor the program maybe better after the refugees receive career guidance. And I'm just going to show you our model. So quickly, and I know I'm speaking to colleagues here, but it's also good to see what definition we are leaning on when it comes to career guidance. And this is maybe especially challenging here with refugees. We want to learn lifelong learning and career skills, and we want to give that during very short sessions. We see career guidance as a process over time. These are the questions we usually bring with us to the conversation. And as I said, reflection, we are very big fans on that. And I'm going to show you a bit about the model and how we try to use this as a process, even though this is a mandatory task for us and for the refugee. How can we take advantage and make possibilities within the frame that we have been given in the law? So even though it's mandatory, we try to make it as freeing as possible. And we also always specify that we are the refugees counselor, not the state or the municipalities. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. This is the Vestland model that we have tried to make. And as I said, we have to start career counseling within 3 months after arrival, which is very short period of time. This forces both us and the municipalities to really turn around quickly and make this happen in a very short period of time. It also limits us with resources. Unfortunately, we get state funding for this task. And we also have very strict guidelines on how long this can be. And what it says, it's 3 meetings. So we have tried to make this a 3-party model where, yes, we have to give our recommendations to the municipalities, that is by law. But we tried, again, as I said, to make it the refugees process. So we are here for the refugees, for the immigrants. We are here to get to know them, to see how best we can use their competence and resources and try to open the room of opportunity and possibilities for them. We try to empower them through these counseling sessions by information is power. So we try to have a teaching process where we can teach them in very short period of time a bit about the Norwegian system and what their rights are and how they can better navigate it. We have an initial meeting that is with a counselor, intro program counselor they are called, which is a representative of the municipalities. We get some information from them about the refugee and technical data that we have to fill in. After that, we have a physical meeting. And as you can see, we have made a model that gives us some time for reflection and us gathering the information. Usually we have to get to know the refugees in a very short period of time. So we try to see what have you done before you came to Norway? Who were you before you became a refugee? And I always try to say and state this, maybe because of my refugee background myself, becoming a refugee is not something you choose. It's not something that just happens. It's something that is done to you. So it's a very traumatic process for a lot of these people. And we try to make a frame where we have to talk about careers. I mean, talking about educational, vocational questions. But really what we talk about when we talk about career guidance is the entirety of your life. So we take this very seriously, and we try through this model and this process to respect the individual and to be their advocates, their career advocates in some way. So after the first initial meeting where we get to know them, we take that information back. And the main question is, what do you wish? What is your interests and your wants here in Norway, your ambitions? And how can we best help you? Then we take that and we try to gather as much information as possible. We then go for meeting number 2. Again, only with the refugee. We go through the information, we talk about what they wish and what they want from the introductory program. And then we have a second meeting with the third meeting, that is, but a second meeting with the municipality, the intro program counselor. In that meeting, we talk about how they can best tailor the program for the refugee as they are expected by law. And because of COVID, and as you saw, we have a very big county, we do have the possibility to do this digitally if needed. Although we do really try to we travel long distances. Some of my colleagues travel 3 hours one way for a counseling session. So we go out to the refugees, and we think this is also, even though it's mandatory, this has the potential of being a positive start of the integration and migration process. And that is our ambition. So as I said, vast county, we travel a lot. We have 43 municipalities. Right now we have 34 of them taking in refugees, and we expect all 43 to receive refugees from Ukraine in a very short period of time. We have regional contacts, so that actually every region we can be specialists in how does the educational system work there. We have different schools in different parts of the county, and what are the vocational possibilities there. So to close up, 2021 was our first year. We met 223 individuals in 28 municipalities. I showed you our model that we are quite proud of, I must admit, because it, as I said, we are the refugees advocate, and it puts the individual in the front seat, so to speak. Again, our model is based on the National Ethical Quality Framework that I started talking about. And we have a principle of aspiring for equal services. So the model I showed you is, we've tried to aspire to make it as similar as the career guidance any Norwegian can get when they visit our career center. And again, we try to keep dreams, ambitions, and aspirations alive whilst giving realistic and relevant information. We hope that through our counseling, we can strengthen the refugees' possibilities within the Norwegian system. And we think that we can strengthen their knowledge about the educational and employment system in Norway, and in that way actually make a stronger and better integration process. We think that with us coming in as a third party, an objective party, a neutral party, so to speak, we can actually ensure the human rights are taken care of, and that the municipalities are following what they're supposed to with the law, and giving the refugees the possibilities that they have the right to. As I said, and to sum up, we hope that through quality guidance and equality, we can actually achieve better inclusion and integration. That is our ambition. And I can just mention at the end, we had 23 refugees we were counseling last year. That was our first year. We are over 250 just now in the first quarter. So we can see that this is a task that is just going to be even bigger in 2022. So I was supposed to have 10 minutes for questions, but I know we are a bit over time. I don't know, Andrea, if we have time to take any.
Yeah, in fact, we have 2 minutes left for the time we foresaw. I mean, we are almost there, but I suggest that we take some questions, and those who have to leave, and then of course can leave, and I think we can maybe take 5 or 10 more minutes to answer questions which are there.
I hope people got, I tried speaking quickly, maybe it was too quick, but I hope people got the essence of it.
Very interesting from my point of view, perfect for us. But a question from or two questions from the audience. So let's start with Panagiota from Greece, maybe, or from where?
Hello. Yeah, I'm Greek, but I work in Cyprus. I'm an immigrant myself, without having this traumatic experience, of course. But I would like to say that I really admire you, Mila. I could say that you're a living example of what an immigrant can do, and you're inspiring to all of us. Of course, we did not experience a traumatic story like you, but we all could share a few thoughts like you did. And one question is that, are you helping people who face domestic migration in Europe, or refugees? Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Panagiota. And I have to also say that a migration process, regarding if it's a refugee or not, and of course refugees have a different character to it, but a migration process in it of itself can be traumatic. Just relocating and starting your life anew, you don't only lose your past and your present, you lose your future in some way. So I have to say that this subject touches much more than just refugees. The only problem is that the law itself and the way we have to model it is only restricted to refugees. So to answer your question, we take all immigrants, and it's the Career Centre's job to actually provide counselling for anyone between the ages of 19 and 100. Norwegians live till they're 130. So we take everyone, and what we've seen is that we do have a bigger potential of reaching these European migrants that you are speaking of. We've had maybe mostly Polish workers that we have been counseling, because we do have some statistics as to which groups people come, which countries people come from that we have counseling sessions with. And Polish are by far the highest, but it's also because the Polish workers have been the biggest group of immigrants in Norway. So, but we do see that we have maybe a greater potential of reaching immigrants in our ordinary work, so to speak. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, thank you. However, I still say that you are an optimistic, there is an optimistic story besides your traumatic story. You are a scientist, you have accomplished so much, so I'm glad to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's so nice to hear. Thank you.
Yes, we have another question from Andres, or Anders, from Norway as well.
Hello, Amila. Nice to see you again. And Andrea.
Yes, yes, hi.
And hello for everyone. Amila, we have met in Bergen for, 2 months ago or something like that.
But first we met in Stuttgart with Andrea.
Yes, that's right, that's right. And I know about you, on your organization, but you have been a little bit bold, and you didn't mention it. How do you include the organization which work with in the voluntary area in this matter? Because as you told us in Bergen, that it's some platforms in the voluntarism that make you reach the target groups. So can you tell in short how do you do that? Where in the system they're including? Thank you.
Thank you, Andres. I love the question and love that you can promote other aspects of our work that I didn't have time for in my presentation, because it's such a vast field and we do so much through this counseling that I had to shorten it as much as possible. But yes, so being career counselors and guidance counselors, we have to actually know not only about the educational fields, the vocational fields, and that's why we have these regional contacts. We do have a big cooperation with the voluntary field as well. Me especially, I come from the voluntary field from before. That's where I started working with integration, matter of fact. So that is a big part of the Norwegian society. One of the most Norwegian words is dugnad, which is community work, so to speak. And I can just speak from my own experience when we came from Bosnia. We didn't have the intro program as shown today, where it's mandatory, it's through law, you get to learn Norwegian, you get to learn about the Norwegian society. So you have, there is an educational aspect of the intro program today that didn't exist when me and my parents came when I was little. Then the voluntary system in Norway was maybe the cornerstone of integration. And I think that it today still is, although we do see that the government has taken more responsibility maybe. However, we see that the voluntary aspects in the county and the municipalities is where maybe the, how do you say, informal both competence and integration happens. So I wish I had more time to elaborate on how the voluntary aspect of it works, but we have a very close collaboration with voluntary services in all municipalities, and the municipalities have it as well. So it's part of the actually counseling session, and where we, okay, you can't maybe start your educational journey now, but have you seen the courses that this and this group has, so to speak? Yeah, I hope that was answering your question, Andres. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, again, I think very interesting discussions, and I also see that, yeah, almost everybody stayed. So I think it was really interesting. So just one person left in this second. Are there any more questions? Because I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think for the time being, but these are definitely aspects we discussed today that we have to deepen in the future, because I can feel that there is a lot of interest on future questions of guidance, on digitalization of guidance, and also on this specific target group of immigrants. It's very interesting for my organization as well, because we have a lot of immigrants here as well now, Ukraine refugees, so a lot of input that we can get from this.
Thank you. So, and I completely agree. And I think digitalization with this field is going to be maybe the future as we see mobility happening through Europe. So thank you, Andrea, and thank you to REGALE and everyone for having me.
Yeah, so thank you for being here, to you, Amila, but also to the other colleagues, Elke and Karin. I would like to say just some closing words. I think it was a very interesting morning, 90 minutes with very rich information that we got here. I think these are things we should deepen a little bit. We will definitely invite ourselves to Norway again as well, and we already invited ourselves to Austria with Erasmus Plus KA1 mobility groups. So I think this is one way of deepening things, and otherwise we have this REGALE project as a framework, and there we will also have, I think, a lot of opportunities to go on talking about career guidance and different opportunities. So this is actually all from my side, but I would like to give the word again to Noelia from All, who is the organizer of this event today. And yeah, maybe for the final words, very final words, Noelia.
Yes, thank you, Andrea. Thank you very much to all the speakers and to the participants. I think this has been a very interesting session. My internet connection is very unstable, so I will try to be very brief. So on behalf of my organization, REGALE, and the Working Group for Lifelong Guidance, led by Baden-Württemberg, also on behalf of all the project partners of the REGALE project that is coordinated by the European Association of the Education of Adults, we would like to thank you very much for being here. We will gather all the information. Please visit the website. Please be in touch via social media. We usually post things. I was very happy to see so many participants already in the capacity building activities that we had physically organized in a we were willing to do through the project. And apart from that, just opening our network, opening REGALE, opening EAEA, apart from the REGALE project, to this discussion. So our working group that is led by Andrea is open for you to and welcome you and your comments, because as we have seen today, we need to continue the discussions because yeah, I mean, we have so many challenges and also so many solutions, and we can learn so much from each other that it cannot just be summarized in 1 hour and a half. So thank you very much, and let's be in touch. Thank you, Andrea, because you also organized this. So thank you.
Okay, so thank you everybody and goodbye. Have a nice day and have a nice rest of the week, hopefully with some sun, and yeah, enjoy yourselves. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.